So what I shared with you was mostly within our home. But now let's go to the outside. My kids go to school. So remember, they go to school and each child has different needs. So sometimes I get to show up at lunch because one of the kids is not feeling well or misbehaved and someone wants to talk to me. But if the other kids know you came to school and you not see them, that shows you don't care. That shows you favor them. That shows why me and why not them. So how do we navigate that? That's a challenge. And also when you come to see one tells the other, hey, dad came to see me today, yada, 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 yada. So those are the outside, like they are proud of you, they love you as a dad. So sometimes they feel loved when you show up at their school. So I try to make sure that I do it consistently to each one of them or a group of them. So if they're boys and I want to have lunch with them, I buy lunch for them and I go see all the boys. But I tell the girl, like, hey, tomorrow is your day. So she doesn't feel like, oh, what not? Wait for so long. Like I make a time short so she's not overthinking about it. So if I see the boys today, I get to let her know like, hey, tomorrow I get to see you. That can cause trouble as well. So for me as a dad, I have time for boys and time for girls, where girls get to choose whatever they want to do. And we follow. She says, I want to go do this. And all the boys, we all go follow and do the same. And that can be a challenge for boys as well to feel like, why? So remember, I have one girl and sometimes I have 4 boys. So that means she has to choose once and then go 4 times for the boys. So tell me, how does she feel? Sometimes that can be tricky. So how do I do it? I do it in the middle. So I go 2 boys and then I let her go in the middle to go and then go boys later. Sometimes we get to do girl twice so she can feel like there wasn't so much time or it's been all about boys. See the emotional impact of just being a parent? Navigating and making sure that everyone is seen and everyone is heard. Also, sometimes our kids have different social workers. If you have kids who have different social workers, that means they come at a different time. But also that means they come and bring things at a different times that are different. And that can cause a lot of emotional trauma. So here's the challenge for me. Since my 2 kids are adopted, there's no social worker that comes at all. None. They don't get to see any visitor coming from the government. None. But when I have the other kids who I'm fostering, they tend to see social workers often. But because they used to see social workers for most of their lives, sometimes it doesn't compute in their head like, oh, I'm adopted now, I don't need to see a social worker, But that can cause trouble because sometimes they get to see the tension as social workers come and see the other kids. Remember, they are seeing the other kids, not my kids. But my kids feel like, why can't we be seen? And remember, this is not something that happens once a month. No, this is something that happens every week. Either they go see their parents, or they see the social worker, or they see someone from the government. And that can cause trouble or can cause jealous to my other kids to make sure that why are they being given more stuff than we? Remember, they're little kids. They don't really think rationally, or logically that way. No. But I made a deal with social workers like, hey, if you give them coloring pencils, make sure you give for all kids because they're coming to a home where the other kids are. And that really helps us to make sure that they feel loved, seen, and heard. So you can see navigating, the emotional impact of our kids and having kids in foster care can be tricky. And that's from the outside. For me, I think I'll be honest. For me, I come from Africa. I have kids who don't look like me. And I think sometimes my family in Africa feel like, why us? Have you forgotten us? Well, I'm always there for them. I always care. But sometimes it can feel like, are these people taking over? What about your nieces and nephews? Yes, I take care of them. But the first time, usually that causes also an emotional impact, feeling we've been left out or you've been taken away. Well, that's part of the family. Also, I have friends I've known for a long time. And they've known my 2 kids, or my kids that I've had for the longest time, or the kids I've adopted. They know them, they visit, they take them out. Now, when you have the other kids, do you say you're gonna take them all? No. Why are they being favored and taken away for a night or doing, things they can remember? They are my adopted kids, so I have the freedom to do whatever I can do that I cannot do with my foster kids. That my kids can go out with some other strangers and stay for the night because I know them. But for my foster kids, they cannot go without the permission of the social worker. But also too, here's what I'm trying to say. I want my kids to have normalcy. That they've had old friends that they can go hang out, old friends that can give them whatever they need, sugar or all that. That they can also feel they have an extended family. Not necessarily my new or current foster friend have to experience that because they don't know the other family. And I make sure that I truly give the kids, all my kids, the opportunity to have that extended family they've had all the time. That I don't really, because I have new ones, I don't really have to force that to other families that I have. So for teenagers, yes, sometimes they just don't want they want space to themselves. They don't want these kids to get in the way. But also, they want to be loved. They want to be seen and they want to feel like dad still loves us. So how do you navigate that to make sure that your teenagers have the same opportunity? Because sometimes they would tell me like, oh yeah, you favor those little ones. Even when they know their needs are more or they need more of me than the teenagers need. But sometimes they can feel left out or unloved. So how do I do that? Well, we make sure that we go watch movies that my little ones don't watch. At times when my little ones are either at daycare or at school. We go do bowling, where it's only teenagers and dad. So I don't have to bring the other one. So they feel loved, but also I am there for themselves. Or we go shopping where I don't have to always bring them. They pick up what they want, but also they enjoy their time with dad. That is a way how I show my teens, like they're special, I love them, but also I remind them, like I have to let them know, like, hey, these kids are needy. They need more help than you do, So I cannot just assume it, but I have to voice it out to them and say, they're little, they're 5 and 7. They need me more than you do. So don't feel like I'm taking your time or you're not seeing me or you're not having me, but they're little, so they need more time. So voicing it out, that really helps. Like, oh yeah, my dad loves me, but he explained why these kids little need more help or need more of me. The other part that I impart to my children is the neighbors or the neighborhood. My kids have been in the neighborhood for, I don't know, as long as we've lived here. Everyone knows who they are. They know homes they show up and they have friends in the same neighborhood of the same age or they go to the same school. Well, when you have the same kids or when you have different kids of the same age, that can be difficult because all of a sudden now you have these new kids who also want to feel they can barge into someone's home without, notice, just the same as my other kids do. So how do we navigate that? Well. That means I have to talk to the other parents and say, by the way, if you see strange kids coming to my home, in your home, they are my kids. So I have to let them know, like, I have new kids. So if they show up at their doors, to not panic that they're my kids. But 2, if they show behaviors that I'm not aware of, to let me know. But to give them the normalcy that they can also wander around the neighborhood. Most time, my kids are absolutely excited to take the new kids to go meet their neighbors and their friends. They're excited. They want to include them. They want to bring them. But sometimes that can be also trouble. When one is favored, they come back, hey, he took my friend. Oh no, So how do we adjust that? Or how do we help? We make sure we don't do that as soon as they come in. First of all, I always want to get to know my kids and my kids gel first before I can let them kind of run in the neighborhood. So by giving an opportunity to get to know each other, that helps them to bond and to know the good and the bad and whatever comes with every child. So when they go out, they feel they are a family or a unit, and in that way it helps them to really have fun. But the other part is sometimes you have 2 scooters, but you have no other scooters. What do? You make sure you get 2 other scooters as quickly as possible. Or find something else they can ride so they all have something to ride so they don't feel like, why does someone have this? Or someone is taking someone else's scooter and someone is not happy. Yeah, all that happened. The other part, the outside part that is really difficult to navigate. My adopted kids can never talk to, well, maybe one time in the future, they'll be able to talk to their parents. But right now, they cannot. But when you have kids who are new, who are already having phone calls or having visitation with their parents, that causes intention, that causes emotional impact to my kids, because they feel, wow, they get to talk to mom, they go to see mom, they go to do all these, and I can't. And that really sets my kids to a different emotional impact, because it triggers the trauma they're trying to heal. You know, when you see someone else talking to mom and dad and they're proud of them, and they, you know, and sometimes they call and they can do FaceTime. Well, that really impacts my kids who cannot. That's something that I don't know how to do. You know, I've tried my best to make sure that when those phone calls come in, either my kids are doing something else somewhere, or they are playing, or they are on the iPad or something. They are busy, that they are not paying attention to what's happening to the other kids. That's how I've tried to navigate that. Or I've tried to make sure that they go in a private place, like in their bedroom upstairs, so they are able to talk to their mom and dad. But I also have to be in the presence and to listen. They have to be on a voice. They have to be on voice so I can hear, to make sure that we protect the children. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate you, our village.
And we do. And we started a new membership program where if you hit the join button, you can get access to early videos, ask questions, and live stream, and you'll be able to get coffee with us. He wanted to do it by himself, but I'm staying with him. So thank you so much. Make sure that you hit that join button to help support us.
Absolutely. That will help us do more room makeovers and help children. It doesn't matter how small, it will truly help us. You are our village, and without you, we cannot do much. So join.